Meghan Markle and her ex-husband dated longer than she's been with Prince Harry. So what went wrong in her past relationship?
I really tried. What that does internally is probably really damaging.
Was this the case of a starter marriage? Or is there a reason she split so abruptly with Trevor Ingleson? It's almost impossible to leave the house without seeing Meghan Markle on the cover of a tabloid, so it's safe to say most of us know all about the Duchess. Her ex-husband, however, is a much more mysterious figure, at least where the general public is concerned. His name is Trevor Ingleson, and he's a director, producer, and talent agent who's responsible for shows like Snowfall and Heathers, as well as films such as Remember Me and All About Steve. He met Meghan all the way back in 2004, and the two of them bonded over their efforts to make it in the entertainment industry. Meghan is well known for her role on Suits, but there was a time when she was working on the game show Deal or No Deal, and this wasn't the only aspect of her life that involved a lot of suitcases, because she and Trevor also shared a love of traveling. Meghan's love for traveling meant she was often busy while filming, but then had extended periods of downtime. According to the book Meghan, A Hollywood Princess by Andrew Morton, these two wanted to travel the world from Greece to Mexico to Thailand, sampling as much cuisine as possible along the way. Meghan gained a reputation for knowing the hottest spots all over the world, which helped her create her now defunct lifestyle site, The Tig.
Oh, I get it kind of moment that for me it became a Tig moment.
But Trevor struggled to keep up with her due to his hectic producer schedule and the fact that he was developing his own business. Even Meghan's Deal or No Deal colleagues couldn't help but notice that he was the only partner who couldn't have time to visit the set. Initially, Meghan was attracted to Trevor's work ethic, but the more time she spent traveling solo, the more strain it put on their relationship. While Meghan agreed to marry Prince Harry after dating for a year and a half, she took far longer to make it down the aisle with Trevor. After beginning their relationship in 2004, the couple married 7 years later in 2011. It wasn't quite a royal wedding, but that doesn't mean it wasn't absolutely breathtaking. The two married at the luxurious Jamaica Inn, located on the private beach of Ocho Rios. The wedding was a 4-day-long affair attended by 107 close friends and family members. Just a few short months before the event, Meghan had landed her role on Suits, so it seemed like things couldn't have been better for the couple. But there was one major obstacle to their marital bliss. Trevor's career was based in Los Angeles, while Meghan's new position involved filming in Toronto, Canada, a long 5-hour flight away. The increased distance put a serious strain on their relationship, but apparently Trevor thought they were making it work, until he got served with divorce papers after only 18 months of marriage. Even though things weren't ideal, he had been visiting her as much as possible and working remotely in an effort to stay close to his wife. According to Meghan, A Hollywood Princess, Trevor's friends claim he was completely blindsided when Meghan filed for divorce. She even mailed her engagement and wedding rings back to him instead of returning to their home and delivering them in person. Not only was Trevor stunned, but so were their mutual friends. Even Meghan's childhood pal, Nanaki Pretty, claims Meghan always said she could never imagine a life without Trevor, and she was surprised to learn of their divorce. Their divorce was finalized in August 2013, about 2 years after their Jamaican wedding, and the reason listed was irreconcilable differences. Breakups and divorces are painful, but to make matters worse, Trevor had to deal with a ton of media attention when Meghan started dating Prince Harry. As for Trevor, he managed to find love again as well. He notoriously dated Bethany Frankel of The Real Housewives of New York City, but ended up settling down with dietitian Tracy Curlin. The fact that Meghan was previously married is something many royal family fans found quite controversial. While it used to be a violation of the royal rules to marry someone who had been divorced, this hasn't been true for quite some time. But still, old traditions are hard to shake, and when Meghan's dating history is taken as a whole, it's not hard to see why some people might have concerns. Meghan and Trevor were together for a long time, but their marriage only lasted 2 years, which is the same amount of time she'd spent with her previous boyfriend, Canadian chef Corey Vitiello.
Meghan Markle had her prince, she had a chef, Chef Corey.
They started dating in 2014 and broke up in 2016. There's been some controversy over whether or not the end of their relationship overlapped with the beginning of Harry and Meghan's. When asked about the possible overlap, Corey simply said that he had no comment on the matter. But when news came out that Harry had proposed to Meghan while cooking a chicken, Corey just so happened to post a picture of a chicken on Instagram with the caption, "Never gets old." Meghan is known for being a major foodie, so getting together with a professional chef seemed fitting. This was a serious relationship, and many of their friends believed it would end in marriage. Meghan frequently wrote in her blog The Tig about how happy she was, and she and Corey seemed like a great match. But suddenly, the couple split, and a delicious pasta pasta dish might have been the reason why. Meghan was becoming well-known thanks to her work on Suits, and Corey was something of a local celebrity in the food scene. An anonymous source told the Daily Mail that Corey began to grow frustrated with Meghan trying to use their fame to get better service at bars and restaurants. This foodie fight came to a boiling point when Meghan tried to take credit for creating the recipe for a pasta dish with courgette spirals Corey had put together. According to the source, this argument meant the end of their relationship. But neither Corey nor Meghan will comment on what actually happened. Even all these years later, Corey has nothing but positive things to say about his ex, telling the Daily Mail that she's a wonderful girl. Although Corey and Trevor prefer not to share details of their time with Meghan, they've confirmed some basics about their relationships, which is more than we can say about the other men Meghan has been romantically linked to in the past. Right before she got together with Corey, she was rumored to be romantically involved with professional golfer Rory McIlroy. At the very least, she agreed to take part in the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge and allowed him to pour freezing water all over her in a now-deleted video. But their relationship was never officially confirmed, so as far as we know, this rumor is all wet. Right after her split from Trevor, Meghan was linked with Canadian ice hockey star Michael Del Zotto. Although he claimed the two of them were just good friends, there were tons of rumors to the contrary. Still, representatives from both Meghan and Michael claim they never actually dated. So as far as we know, Meghan's 3 confirmed relationships were with Trevor, Corey, and of course, Prince Harry. Although she and Trevor took their time, they divorced after 2 years of marriage, which is the same amount of time she dated Corey. Do you want to guess how long Harry and Meghan dated before they got married? If you guessed about 2 years, you're correct. Of course, Meghan and Harry are still together, but about 2 years into their marriage, they made a major change. After the birth of their son, Archie Harrison, they announced that they would be stepping back as senior members of the royal family. This means they'll be splitting their time between United Kingdom and North America and living lives independent of the royal family. Looking back at Meghan's dating history, it seems like she tends to shake things up about every 2 years or so. Of course, it could just be a major coincidence, or maybe Meghan really does start to feel restless after doing the same thing for a couple of years. After all, we know that she loves experiencing new things, traveling to new places, and meeting new people. Feeling a 2-year itch wouldn't be that surprising, considering what we know about her personality. Naturally, there have been people who take this 2-year thing to the next level and predict that in that time, Meghan and Harry will get a divorce. But shaking things up doesn't always have to mean ending a romantic relationship. During an interview with Vanity Fair, Meghan claimed that she never wants to define herself by her romantic relationships. In addition to becoming a mother, Meghan has also been involved with charities such as the Royal Foundation, and she was the guest editor for British Vogue. Even though she's stepping away from royal life, that doesn't mean she isn't going to be keeping busy. And really, it was hard not to see Megxit coming a mile away. Prince Harry had long been vocal about his desire to live as normal of a life as possible.
Of course, there's a lot of stuff that hurts. Especially when the majority of it is untrue.
And he clearly wanted that for his son as well. He stated that he would never want to be a king. Even though he's so far down the line of succession, he will most likely never have the opportunity. Meghan's admitted that she found royal life challenging and said that the media scrutiny was way more intense than when she was an actress.
My British friend said to me, "You shouldn't do it because the British tabloids will destroy your life."
It could easily just be a natural progression of Harry and Meghan's personalities and preferences that led to them stepping back from being working members of the royal family. Just because Meghan is switching up her career doesn't mean she's going to be switching up her husband. Harry and Meghan claim they had an instant connection with one another, and they've only gotten stronger with time. During a charity event, Harry had to fight back happy tears when talking about Meghan and their son.
And I remember squeezing Meghan's hand so tight during the awards.
And even though some royal family fans may have felt their relationship has progressed quickly, both Harry and Meghan claim that they spent plenty of time getting to know each other before getting engaged.
We were able to really have so much time just to connect.
There are some people who believe Meghan is a serial monogamist. They believe she started seeing Michael Del Zotto when she was still technically married to Trevor, and that she didn't break things off with Corey until after she met Prince Harry. But there's really no hard evidence of this, and all parties involved have refused to divulge any details. So what we do know for sure is that Meghan got married just before her career took off, and the distance led to her getting a divorce. She had a serious relationship with Corey, which eventually ended, and then she met Harry and fell head over heels. Meghan is an adventurous person, and it's certainly possible that she starts looking for change every 2 years or so. But it definitely seems like Meghan and Harry share a love of adventure and plan on weathering all incoming changes together as a family.
Would it be fair to say not really? Okay, as in it's really been a struggle?
Yes.
From her lifestyle blog to her career, Meghan Markle made some major changes when she joined the royal family. Now with her newfound freedom, she won't be held back by these rules any longer. Never complain, never explain. There are tons of time-honored traditions in the royal family, and one of their most famous mantras has been passed down since the time of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. The royal family is expected to live by the phrase, never complain, never explain. This may be a prestigious family, but even they can't control everything that goes on in their lives. However, they can control how they react to certain situations. According to this royal rule, they're never to complain about what they might be experiencing, and they also don't need to justify the choices that they make. Now that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are going to be non-working members of the royal family, they'll have a lot more freedom to speak up about their experiences. Yes, Meghan will finally be allowed to complain, although we have a feeling she won't be losing her sunny disposition. But it seems like this is a rule she can't wait to be rid of, as she's opened up about the toll royal life has taken on her mental health.
It's a very real thing to be going through behind the scenes.
Even this couple's royal retirement was announced on their Instagram account without their post being pre-approved by the palace. Hug and kiss fans. Since she was an actress before becoming a Duchess, Meghan has a lot of experience dealing with adoring fans. But once she joined the royal family, she was expected to hold back on doling out affection to her admirers and well-wishers. It may seem cold to deny affection to their younger fans, but there's a good reason behind this royal rule. Since this family spends so much time meeting and greeting, they're exposed to a lot of germs, and they don't exactly get sick days in their line of work. But while other family members rely on gloves and clutches to act as barriers, Meghan is known for getting close to her fans despite the rules. In addition to possibly spreading germs, hugging and kissing fans also represents a significant security risk. The royal family's bodyguards may be unobtrusive, but that doesn't mean they aren't always watching. But now that Meghan and Harry are on their own, they can get away with showing affection on their terms without having to answer to anyone. Hopefully this family stocks up on vitamin C if they plan on getting even friendlier with their fans. Sign autographs. There are a lot of royal rules that involve the proper ways to interact with the public, and frankly, Meghan has never been great at following them. One big no-no in the royal family is signing autographs. Doing so is considered a serious security risk since their signatures can be powerful and the potential for forgery is great. But even Prince Charles has broken this rule in a serious situation. He once signed Charles 2010 on a scrap of paper for flood victims, and this small act of kindness was a huge breach of royal protocol. Meghan figured out a workaround to this rule by writing "Hi Caitlin" for a young fan instead of signing her name. But now that Meghan will be a non-working member of the royal family, she's free to dole out her autograph to as many fans as she pleases. Getting a royal autograph used to be almost impossible, but Meghan and Harry will have a new way to bond with their fans moving forward. They can now snap selfies, sign papers, and embrace their fans to their heart's content. Meghan can act again. Depending on what Meghan does next, she might want to brush up on her signature if she's gotten rusty from lack of practice. Before she met Prince Harry, Meghan found success as an actress. She started out small, like when she worked as a briefcase girl on Deal or No Deal, but became famous for her work as Rachel Zane on the show Suits. When she and Harry got serious, the royal rules dictated that Meghan had to retire from her role. Meghan said she didn't look at it as giving something up, but rather taking a different life path than the one she had been pursuing. But now that she won't be working for the royal family, she doesn't have to follow this rule any longer, and Meghan returning to work might not be optional. When Prince Harry delivered his exit speech, he stated that he and his wife no longer wish to rely on public funding and want to be financially independent.
Our hope was to continue serving the Queen, the Commonwealth, and my military associations, but without public funding.
The couple hasn't elaborated on how they plan to support themselves and their son, Archie Harrison, but it looks like Meghan is already getting back to work. The Times reported that she signed a voiceover deal with Disney in exchange for a donation to Elephants Without Borders. It could only be a matter of time before Meghan is back in front of the camera earning a paycheck for her family. Represent the Queen. Being a member of the royal family can be a full-time job, as Harry's brother Prince William knows all too well. He was forced to retire from his career as an air ambulance pilot when his royal duties became too much. Meghan and Harry were definitely kept busy with their public appearances, and through it all, they were tasked with representing the crown. Queen Elizabeth is extremely busy, and since she can't be everywhere at once, she relies on her family members to represent her during public events. We know nobody can pull off bright colors quite like the Queen, but they had to try their best to fill in. Honoring the Queen is a tough job, and made it all the more important that Harry and Meghan adhered to every last rule of royal etiquette. But now that they're not on duty with the royal family, Harry and Meghan don't have to represent anyone but themselves. Meghan's actions won't reflect upon Queen Elizabeth, so she'll be able to enjoy a lot more freedom and a lot less pressure. Christening. The royal family has a lot of public events they're expected to attend, but they also have to host their own. Royal christenings are a huge deal, and there are plenty of traditions which must be strictly adhered to. When little Archie had his big day, he was dressed in a traditional royal christening gown, which was a replica of one commissioned by Queen Victoria all the way back in 1841. It was also worn by his cousins Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. But if Meghan decides to have another child, she won't be expected to go through with another lavish christening ceremony. While she and Harry may still choose to honor their second child in this way, they have the option of doing something different than what has been the status quo in Harry's family for generations. Accept gifts. When a child is born into the royal family, they're lavished with gifts from adoring fans, but they don't always get to keep them. Yes, there are rules regarding presents, and they're pretty strict. All gifts must be checked over by the security team for safety reasons. While the Queen certainly passes along some presents to her great-grandchildren, many of them end up being donated to charity or just discarded entirely. But figuring out what to do with all of those presents will now be the responsibility of Archie's parents. Despite their newfound freedom, they might want to start thinking about putting their own rules in place before their house is totally overrun with toys. Eat messy foods. Before she met Prince Harry, Meghan maintained a lifestyle blog called The Tig, and food was one of her favorite topics. The Duchess loves to travel and sample cuisine from all over the world, so switching to dinner at the palace must have been a huge adjustment since the Queen has such strong culinary preferences. Queen Elizabeth despises garlic, so you won't find it in dishes on her dinner table. Dishes like spaghetti and meatballs have also been banned because they've been deemed far too messy to enjoy in polite company. Now that Meghan is leaving royal life behind, she's free to chow down on whatever her heart desires, no matter how messy it might be. No royal titles. There is plenty of protocol surrounding royal titles, but Queen Elizabeth can override the rules anytime she likes. Hey, it's one of the perks of being the Queen. Sometimes when a member steps away from the royal family, they end up leaving their title behind. When Harry's mother married Prince Charles, she was given the title Her Royal Highness. But after their divorce, she lost it, meaning she then had to curtsy to other members of the royal family. The same thing happened to Sarah, Duchess of York, when she and Prince Andrew divorced. The agreement Harry and Meghan reached with the Queen specifies that they will no longer use their Royal Highness titles, but they aren't being taken away like they were from Diana and Sarah. It's now perfectly acceptable to call Meghan ma'am instead of Your Royal Highness. However, they will retain the titles of Duke and Duchess. PDA. Meghan had a lot to learn when she joined the royal family, but there was one rule she seemingly struggled with the most, and it involves how much affection she shows her husband. Public displays of affection are definitely against the royal rules, and even married couples are expected to show restraint. But according to royal photographer Tim Rook, Harry and Meghan are the most affectionate couple he ever photographed, and a stark contrast from Prince William and Kate Middleton. If this was the kind of PDA Meghan engaged in before leaving her royal duties behind, we can only assume she and Harry will get even closer now. Meghan can dress differently. Even though she's always been stylish, her pre-Prince Harry wardrobe was a lot more casual and involved way less fancy hats and tiaras. Since she won't be called upon to attend royal engagements, she'll presumably have precious few opportunities to get decked out in a ball gown or cover herself with royal jewels. Meghan was frequently criticized for dressing too casually, especially when compared to her sister-in-law Kate Middleton. But now she can feel free to dress in jeans and a t-shirt and even paint her nails bright red if she wants to. Harry can too. For most of her life, Meghan was able to wear whatever she wanted, but Harry never enjoyed the same luxury. Although he claims to have had a relatively normal upbringing, he's lived his life in the public eye. One of his most casual pieces of clothing is a J. Crew blazer that costs $170, and he's been seen wearing it many times. Now that he's taking a major step back from life as a member of the royal family, he's finally free to dress as casually as he wants to, even when he goes out in public. Now that he and Meghan aren't in the family business, they're free to wear what they want.
Because not many people have asked if I'm okay.
Meghan Markle may be ready to go back to acting, but is Hollywood ready for her? There may be some surprising roadblocks in her way, and at least one celeb finds the idea of her performing again laughable. Potential nepotism. Meghan Markle had the opportunity to lend her voice to Disney's adorable Elephant documentary, but was it her talent that got her the gig? Some fans were suspicious after a clip emerged of her husband Prince Harry talking up her voiceover skills to then Disney CEO Bob Iger at the Lion King premiere. He told Bob that Meghan was really interested in doing voiceover work, and next thing we know, Meghan has a role in Elephants. Prince Harry and Meghan were likely planning their retirement from the royal family for quite some time, so he could have been trying to secure his family's financial future. But Meghan did have an acting career before she married Prince Harry, so perhaps she got the job based on her own skill and not her royal connections. However, Disney definitely seems to be playing up her connection to the royal family in order to get more people to tune in for Elephant. Her title, the Duchess of Sussex, has been a prominent part of the documentary's advertisement, instead of just letting her voice speak for itself. Disney Princess. There have been rumors that Meghan is hoping to upgrade her voiceover role and go from being the Duchess of Sussex to being a Disney princess, but based on the reviews of Elephant, this might not be an option. Critics haven't exactly been kind regarding her role, and reviews are certainly mixed so far. The Times critic Ed Potton said she's swapping pomp and circumstance for schmaltz and cheesiness. And many fans of nature documentaries can't help but compare Meghan's narration to the iconic voice of David Attenborough. But in Meghan's defense, there's only one David Attenborough, so that hardly seems like a fair comparison. If Meghan was hoping this initial role would lead to other acting gigs, the reviews rolling in might be holding her back, making a difference. The merit of Meghan's voiceover role in Elephants may be debatable, but there's certainly one thing we can't argue about the Duchess. She knows how to get things done. In fact, back when she was working on the show Suits, her nickname on set was something like Meghan Gets Stuff Done. Before she was worrying about fitting into the royal family, Meghan was always standing out because of her drive, ambition, and compassion for others. So what did she get done on the set of Suits? She decided to start donating leftover food from Suits to people experiencing homelessness. On Thanksgiving, Meghan helped dish out servings of turkey and convinced cast and crew members to come along. Meghan has always been a charitable person, before and after the royal family. It's possible that working as an actress simply wouldn't satisfy her desire to give back to her community. Even if Meghan has the option to resume her acting career, her career may end up taking a more charitable path. No deal. Everyone knows Meghan's big break was her role as Rachel Zane on the show Suits, but she was on a major television show before then. It's just that she had a very minor role. Who could forget the game show Deal or No Deal? Hosted by Howie Mandel, this game show let contestants choose briefcases held by gorgeous models, including Meghan Markle. Yes, the Duchess of Sussex was once a briefcase girl on Deal or No Deal, but apparently she wasn't the biggest fan of the job. Although she called it a learning experience, her takeaway was that this was not the kind of job she wanted. Apparently, standing around smiling in super high heels isn't the most enjoyable way to spend a day. Meghan says she was always relieved when someone called her number so she could sit down. Since she's been out of the industry for a while, she might be expected to climb back up the ladder by taking less than ideal roles. But would Meghan really be willing to go through something like her Deal or No Deal ordeal again? Memorable. She doesn't exactly have fond memories of her time as a Deal or No Deal briefcase girl, but Howie Mandel doesn't remember working with her at all.
I think she's a duchess because of me.
Apparently, Meghan didn't do a lot of networking during her time on the show. She's admitted that she was just there for a paycheck while trying to make ends meet, and clearly she didn't manage to stand out. Host Howie Mandel admitted that he doesn't remember Meghan specifically, although he spoke highly of the Briefcase Girls in general. Chrissy Teigen was a Briefcase Girl for a short period of time, but all she had to compliment Meghan on was her looks. If Meghan wants to make it in the entertainment industry, she's definitely going to have to work on being more impressionable. No going back. Even though Suits was Meghan's big break, she wasn't asked to return for the finale. Creator Aaron Korsh decided to have Rachel Zane remain gone out of respect for Meghan Markle's decision to marry Prince Harry. He said that as much as he might have wanted to see the return of Rachel, it wasn't worth putting Meghan in an awkward position. So he made the choice not to ask her to return out of respect for her new life. Meghan may be leaving the royal life behind, but it wouldn't be surprising if other people in the industry follow the same logic as Aaron Korsh. Maybe they'll feel awkward about taking Meghan away from the royal family and choose an actress who has less strings attached. Long distance. Before Meghan met Prince Harry, she was married to film producer and talent manager Trevor Engelson. But as we all know, things didn't exactly work out between them. While Meghan and Harry's relationship seemed to progress quickly, she dated Trevor for 7 years before finally tying the knot. However, only 2 years after their wedding, Meghan filed for divorce. Even her own friends were stunned by the seeming suddenness of her decision, and Trevor was apparently quite surprised as well. Although Meghan and Trevor prefer to stay quiet about their past, their split occurred after Meghan relocated due to her role on Suits. Long-distance relationships can be tough, and apparently show business and her marriage just didn't mix. Now Meghan is happily married to Prince Harry, and the two of them have a child together. Would she be willing to risk her family in favor of her career? If she tries to stay close to Harry, it could limit the role she's able to pursue and could have a negative impact on her career. Unsuitable. Not only could filming locations be a major concern for Meghan, but so could the content of any potential new projects. Filming elephant documentaries is certainly safe, but anything even remotely salacious could reflect poorly on the royal family. The fact that Meghan showed some serious skin on Suits was considered a huge deal when she got together with Prince Harry. And even though she's no longer a working member of the royal family, her behavior will still reflect them, for better or for worse, because they tend to be conservative when it comes to clothing and behavior. That's something Meghan would certainly have to respect when choosing new projects. Even if Meghan has the appropriate acting skills, finding an appropriate role could be quite the challenge. The TIG. There's no doubt that getting back into the entertainment industry would be difficult for Meghan, but are we sure it's even something she wants? She became famous for her role on Suits, but Meghan has a variety of things she's passionate about that go far beyond acting. Prior to her engagement to Prince Harry, she ran a lifestyle blog called The TIG. Meghan is a big-time foodie who loves to travel and has no shortage of followers who enjoyed following her culinary journey. Now that she's no longer a working member of the royal family, it may be time for her to restart the TIG instead of getting back into acting. After all, her audience has only grown larger since she met Prince Harry. According to Us Weekly, Meghan wants to relaunch the TIG, as well as release another cookbook for her fans. Weak resume. If Meghan plans on dusting off her old acting resume, she might realize it's not all that impressive aside from her time on Suits. For a long time, Meghan took whatever gigs she could get, which explains her time on Deal or No Deal, as well as the time she spent working as a freelance calligrapher and bookbinder. She had a small role on the soap opera General Hospital and guest starred on Century City, The War at Home, Fringe, and CSI New York. Her last major movie role was Horrible Bosses back in 2011, and before that, she appeared in Get Him to the Greek and Remember Me. Meghan's acting career was off to a solid start, but she left to marry Harry just as she was starting to get big. She may not be able to seamlessly step into big parts considering her past, and she may have to spend time rebuilding her resume. Laughingstock. Meghan Markle has tons of fans who would love to see her return to acting, but not everyone is that enthusiastic about her potential return. Apparently, Joan Collins is far from a fan, or at least she seemed that way when questioned about Meghan's potential return to the industry. When asked about the odds of Meghan getting back into acting, Joan laughed and said, "You've got to be joking." And she isn't the only one who doesn't think it's possible for Meghan to act again. According to Reputation Management Consultants Chairman Eric Schiffer, Meghan will probably get a lot of offers at first, but as time passes, the job offers will get fewer and fewer. He predicts her career will cause a backlash with the royal family until Hollywood decides it's not worth the trouble. off-limits. Meghan's connection to the royal family may open some doors for her, but it will slam others shut. Prince Edward was once interested in the entertainment industry and opened his own production company. But when he started filming his own family, that's when things got messy. He was accused of using his connections for his own gain, and his company wasn't taken seriously in the industry. When the company finally dissolved, its assets were only worth $49. Ouch! Hopefully, Prince Edward's experience will serve as a cautionary tale about how not to go from being royalty to making money on entertainment. Tabloid fodder. When Meghan Markle met Prince Harry, her British friends warned her against getting into a relationship with him. Not because of any perceived defect on Harry's part, but because they know how cruel the tabloids can be when it comes to the royal family. And Meghan has certainly seen it firsthand, especially since she sued the Mail for publishing a private letter she had written to her father. The more time she spends in the spotlight, the more tabloids are going to come after her, lawsuits or not. It's possible that Meghan will decide it's not worth inviting more of the stress into her life by pursuing an acting career. New chapter. Many people assumed Meghan was devastated to walk away from her acting career, but she claims this isn't the case. According to Meghan, she didn't feel as though she was giving up something. She just saw herself making a change. She called it a new chapter, and she said she was ready to move on from Suits and felt good about her decision. So it's entirely possible that Meghan is happy to leave the past in the past and open up yet another new chapter in her life. Archie Harrison. There are tons of celebrities who manage to balance parenthood and acting. So having a child certainly doesn't disqualify Meghan from having a career, but she and Harry have both been adamant about giving their son a normal life since before he was even born. They were willing to step away from the royal family in order to live more quiet lives with their son, and Meghan re-entering the spotlight doesn't exactly seem conducive to a normal lifestyle. Meghan might be okay with dealing with a ton of attention, but does she want the same for her son? What do you think the future holds for Meghan Markle? Are you hoping she returns to acting, or do you think she should follow a different career path? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. And don't forget to click subscribe for more from The Taco. Bye for now.